Russia-Ukraine war at a glance. What we know on day 441 of the invasion. In our program today, 3 Russian regions on border with Ukraine attacked by drones, Russian governors. Don't think of this counteroffensive as last, Ukrainian foreign minister. US diplomats accuse Russia of using hunger as a weapon of war against Ukraine. Ukrainian military claims successful counterattack near Bakhmut. Germany wants China to guarantee it won't help Russia bypass EU sanctions. Ukraine has what it needs to successfully retake territory, US Secretary of State. 3 Russian regions on border with Ukraine attacked by drones, Russian governors. 3 sites in Russian regions on the border with Ukraine were attacked by drones early Wednesday, according to local authorities. They say 2 drones launched strikes in the Voronezh, Belgorod, and Kursk regions. The drones attacked a military facility in Voronezh, according to a statement by the region's governor Alexander Gosev. Early this morning, an attack attempt by 2 enemy UAVs, unnamed aerial vehicles, was thwarted at a Voronezh military facility, he said in a Telegram post. The governor added that counteractions caused 1 drone to deviate from its course and fall, while the second drone was destroyed by fire damage. Don't think of this counteroffensive as last, Ukraine's FM. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba tells the German Daily Bild that the international community should not think of Kiev's planned counteroffensive against Russia as the last. If we succeed in liberating our territories with this counteroffensive, then at the end you will say, yes, it was the last one. But if not, then that means we have to prepare for the next counteroffensive, he was quoted as saying. Ukrainian military claims successful counterattack near Bakhmut. The Ukrainian military has inflicted huge losses on Russian forces in a successful counterattack near the eastern city of Bakhmut on Wednesday, according to Ukrainian officials. Speaking in a video shared on Telegram, Andriy Beletsky, head of Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade, said units of the 72nd Brigade of the Russian Federation were defeated. The 6th and 8th companies of the division had been completely destroyed, along with a significant number of armored fighting vehicles, he added. Beletsky said a significant number of prisoners were taken and the 3rd Assault Unit of Wagner also suffered heavy losses, referring to the Russian private military company or mercenary group that is playing a major role in the battles around Bakhmut. The offensive action completely freed an area 3 kilometers (1.9 miles) wide and 2.6 kilometers (1.6 miles) deep of Russian forces, he said. No exact location was given. The spokesperson for the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Serhiy Cherevati, added that the battle was still ongoing but that the enemy is suffering huge losses in this area. He stated that 203 were killed and 216 wounded. He also noted that there was no shortage of shells but a shortage of people. The spokesman said that there had been 524 attacks on Ukrainian positions around Bakhmut. Russia has suffered heavy losses in their months-long battle for the city but have not yet been able to capture it. If they don't get more personnel or change their tactics in the near future, PMC Wagner will no longer exist in this area, Cherevati added. Bakhmut is the site of a long, drawn-out assault by Russian forces, including Wagner mercenaries, that has driven thousands from their homes and left the area devastated. But despite the vast amounts of manpower and resources Moscow has poured into capturing the city, they have been unable to take total control. US diplomats accuse Russia of using hunger as a weapon of war against Ukraine. Bridget A. Brink, the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, accused Russia on Tuesday of again blocking ships from loading grain in Ukraine's port to feed people who need it around the world. The U.S. official referenced similar comments on the topic made by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken earlier on Tuesday. The world shouldn't need to remind Moscow every few weeks to stop using people's hunger as a weapon in its war against Ukraine, Blinken said, as quoted by Bring on Twitter. Farhan Haq, UN Deputy Spokesman for the Secretary General, stated 2 inspections of ships did happen on Tuesday. Ukraine has what it needs to successfully retake territory, U.S. Secretary of State. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that he thinks Ukraine has the resources it needs to retake territory in an anticipated counteroffensive. They have in place what they need to continue to be successful in regaining territory that was seized by force by Russia over the last 14 months, Blinken stated at a joint news conference with UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly. It's not only the weapons, it's the training, Blinken continued, adding, it's making sure that the Ukrainians can maintain the systems that we provide them. And it's important, of course, that they have the right plans again to be successful. Blinken's comments come on the same day the U.S. announced an additional $1.2 billion in aid to Ukraine intended to bolster air defenses and keep up ammunition supplies. Germany wants China to guarantee it won't help Russia bypass EU sanctions. Germany wants Beijing to promise it won't help Russia avoid European sanctions, while China warns Berlin and Europe about cutting economic ties with China as the 2 countries' diplomatic chiefs meet in Berlin Tuesday. Imposed sanctions should not be undermined in a roundabout way, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said at a joint news conference. It is particularly critical if Russian weaponry companies obtain war-related goods, she stressed, adding that all countries, China included, should take action to oblige their companies. Baerbock welcomed Chinese President Xi Jinping's recent phone call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and urged China to play a more decisive role in ending Russia's war in Ukraine. U.S. announces $1.2 billion in military aid for Ukraine. The United States has announced a new $1.2 billion military aid package for Ukraine that will include air defense systems, ammunition, and funds for training, the Pentagon has said. Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative USAI funds will be used to buy the weapons, allowing President Joe Biden's administration to buy weapons from industry rather than pull them from U.S. stocks. In the package, Ukraine will receive additional air defense systems and munitions, as well as the technology to integrate Western air defense launchers, missiles, and radars with Ukraine's native defense systems. The funds will pay for 155mm Howitzer ammunition, counter-drone ammunition, satellite imagery, and various types of training, the Pentagon said.